the Off-Grid family. Today I'm going to be showing you how to grow wheatgrass and barley. Now, I've grown quite a bit of this. The only problem with me doing the video now is my seeds are really old. I bought a few kilograms of each and I haven't been making them all the time. I've been making them as and when we've needed them. So as you can see, like, the yield isn't as good as it should be because some of the seeds haven't germinated. Some of them are starting to germinate now, which is really late in the process. But what I'll do is I'll still do the video with the exact quantities I'd usually use and so on, so you know. For example, if I was to do this for myself now, the next batch, I would actually double up on the seeds so that I've actually got a proper amount, because like this side has hardly germinated at all. And this one has taken a lot longer to germinate. So I tweak it to the seeds, you know, and so on. But I'm just going to do it exactly how I would normally, even though I know that there'll be quite a poor yield. And that way you can just see how much to use rather than me complicating it by doubling bits and so on. Anyway, let's go to the first process. It's such a simple one, you'll enjoy it all the way through. Thanks for watching, let's get on. Okay, so this is all the stuff you'll need. You'll need a tray without holes in, or two in my case, because I'm making two different types. You'll need two trays with holes in them, and then you'll need something to soak the seeds in. Now, what I'd like to do to start off is take one of your trays and pour out your seeds into it. Just a rough amount, and shake them flat, and make sure that there's just a nice sprinkling over the entire area, and that's how many seeds I'll need. So this is the wheatgrass, and I've written it on so I don't start making the wrong things. Okay, and then the same thing with the barley. Pour out a small amount. Make sure there's an even coating over the whole lot, and that's it, done. This way, you'll always have the right amount of seeds for the job. Next, cover them in water. Once that's done, just leave them to soak for 12 hours. One thing you can do, and I'm going to do, is place a lid on the top. This is purely because I have children, and if I don't, I'll end up finding water and seeds all over the house. So that's it, done. See you in 12 hours. Okay, it's been 12 hours or thereabouts. It's not rocket science. If you've done it for like 11 hours, that's fine. You know, all they need is to soak and absorb as much water as possible. Now what we have to do is we have to strain them, give them a quick wash, clean them off a bit, and then straight back in, and we'll put them back in water. So I'll do that now. Okay, one thing you might notice is these have grown in size considerably, where they've absorbed all the water, which is a good thing. Okay, now I just need to add water again, and we'll leave them for another 12 hours. Okay, and it's been another 12 hours, well, a little over 12 hours, and it's the same process again. All we need to do is strain it out and change the water. They will have grown ever so slightly more in size, but not by too much, because in the first 12 hours they will have absorbed a majority of the water. But you may start to notice tiny little white shoots coming out. Let me see if I can find one. There's not many at this stage, and don't be disheartened if you can't find any. You should hopefully start tomorrow seeing more. But I can't really pick them up. I keep moving them around, and there's only one or two. But tomorrow, that's when most of the shoots should start coming through. So add the water. Put the lids back on if you're using lids, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay, so it's a little over 12 hours later. I had hoped to do this earlier, but I've been very, very busy. So what we need to do now is strain them out and leave them in a strainer or something just to keep them dry. So I'll do that next. One thing I forgot to say is make sure you give them a good washing over, you know, just with the tap, just to get them all clean. Okay, and now what we need to do is just cover them with a tea towel and leave them again for 12 hours. Okay, there we go. See you in 12 hours. Okay, so it's been 12 hours again now. So I had hoped to see sprouting forming, but at the moment there's still only very, very tiny amounts of growth. So again, all you need to do is cover them in water, you know, wash them down and stuff, and then just leave them in the strainers. So that's my next job. Before I do anything, I'm just going to show you there is slightly, there's some small sprouting going on here. There's a few of them that are starting to open. So just give them a wash off and then put them back in the strainer. I can't see anything happening with the wheatgrass at the moment, with the barley, sorry, but it's just all about the waiting game. So cover again with a tea towel. Okay, so it's been about 48 hours since I last recorded, and all I've been doing is exactly the same thing. I've been washing them out and wetting them down, and we are starting to get some growth now. You can see all the little white sprouting coming through now. So I think possibly tomorrow I'll be able to put these in trays, but don't hold me to that. And then this one is a little bit further behind, but they are definitely starting to sprout now. So hopefully we should be well on our way. But I'm just going to wet these through again, strain them, and then cover them again just for tonight. I may leave them uncovered tomorrow, but I will notify you if I do. Okay, so they've all been wet again. I'm going to cover them up again overnight, and then we'll decide what we're going to do tomorrow, whether we're going to leave them uncovered or covered up. So I will see you again tomorrow. Okay, we're partway through this project, and I went to bed last night and I'd lost a lot of hope. The seeds were old and I just assumed that they were denatured and, you know, they died. I hadn't really looked after them very well. They were supposed to be done when I first got them, and then another project went out by, and so on and so on. Look what happened to them this morning. As you can see, they've somewhat exploded. I was going to put the towel on it to do a nice reveal, but I was too worried that they'd all start sticking to it, because they've literally just started pushing themselves out of the colanders. So what we need to do now is go to the next phase, which is get the trays out. Okay, as I said before, what you need is 2 trays with holes in them, and then 2 trays without. It doesn't matter what, and you can literally use yogurt pots with holes in on a big tray that doesn't, or whatever you want. It doesn't matter at all. But as I said, as I did at the beginning, I've measured it out to be around the right amount of seeds for these trays. Now, the only issue I've got that I didn't presuppose was they've tied themselves together really well, and I don't want to break them. So just give them a very, very gentle wiggle. You don't want to actually break any of their little roots, but you do want to make sure that they're all separate. What I might do is break them apart in water. 1 second. Okay, I've just filled it with water, and then with your fingers just ever so gently tease all the roots apart. Okay, that's done well enough. Now I'll just go and strain them out again. Now I'll do the same with these roots, breaking them up in water. Now ideally I would have got these in the trays sooner than this. They shouldn't have such big roots, but as I say, they weren't growing at all, and then suddenly they decided to explode. Okay, so they're all strained off. Go a bit more careful with them when you're straining them and sorting them out now, because obviously you don't want to break any of the roots. So, we've got our trays. What you want to do now is gently tip them into their trays. I'm keeping the tubs in front just so I know which ones are what, although they're quite easy to identify. These are more a bean, like a baked bean shape, and these are more a corn seed. Now you'll always find some haven't germinated, and at this point it doesn't matter at all. There'll be some late starters, so that's not a problem, but there'll always be some that don't germinate. It's not an issue. Now you can see by the quantity of these compared to these how much more these have shot up. But I would say this is about the point I would like to normally put them in the trays. So they've got just a bit of a head start. Try to get them, you know, you're not expected to get them one layer each, but just try and get them as spread out and as even as you can. Okay, now we need some newspaper. I'm not going to show you which one this is because I wouldn't want you to think I read this drivel. Right, now what you want to do now is wet your newspaper and place it on the top. What you want to do first is give them a nice spray of just water. You don't want to add too much water, they're already quite wet from me separating the roots out. And now, what I do, I either wet the newspaper in the sink or I spray the newspaper turn it over onto them, not pressing down too much, just like that, and then wetting the other side. And that's that one done for now. Now, just like before, every 12 hours, come back, give them a little spray. So that's it to the next stage, and I'll show you what to do after that. One thing I haven't said is make sure you mark each one if you are making different things, just to avoid confusion. Now these need to be stored anywhere you like, really, not in direct sunlight, but just, you know, they can go anywhere. I put them on a little shelf in my living room. It's been 24 hours since I last recorded because all I needed to do the last time was water it again. So like before, just water every 12 hours. Now, as you'll see, we've had quite a bit of growth. They're about 1 inch, the majority. Some of them are a little bit taller than that. But now what we need to do is we need to water them like before. If you don't have a spray bottle, you can just pour a cup of water on them, you know, it's not a major thing. I just prefer to use the spray bottle. And now, all we have to do is put them on a shelf without the newspaper on now. So the newspaper can go into the recycling and this can just go on a shelf. Now, as I said before, they don't need a huge amount of light. You don't have to put them directly in a windowsill. If you've got a windowsill, by all means put it in. It's not going to hurt it, it will help it. But they can just go on a shelf in your living room or wherever you put them. I do actually have a shelf in my bathroom which was designed to germinate seeds. It's got multiple layers and it like bends towards the windowsill. So I'll actually put them on there for a couple of days and see how that does. Due to them being in the windowsill, or out from underneath the newspaper, you will notice that they go very, very green, like they should do, because they've got the sunlight to allow the chlorophyll in their grassy leaves. But basically, I will be back when there isn't difference. Okay, it's been 12 hours since I last recorded, and as you can see, we've had quite a lot of growth. I will try and make that a bit more apparent. There we go. We've had we've had a sunny day. I was going to say a couple of sunny days. No, we've had a sunny day since I took the thing off, and it's amazing how much these will shoot up with just a bit of sunlight. But as with the whole process, just literally give them a squirt, put them back wherever you're storing them. These are only a couple of days off, I think, from being completely done. See you again in 12 hours. Okay, and as I'd predicted, we haven't got the greatest yield ever, but it's almost exactly the same as the batch in the beginning, which my rabbits have already devoured. But I've actually had more, ironically enough, start to grow here, like late sprouters, than I did with the last lot. But we did actually have a bit of sunshine this time. The last batch I did, it was all miserable days. But I'll show you up close. This is the barley, and it's okay. But if you have a look, we've got huge quantities that didn't germinate. Now that's not because of the process, that is just because of the age of the seeds. So, just follow what I did with newer seeds and you'll be fine. As I said, I think at the beginning, I bought a huge batch of them and I've been doing them as and when we've needed them. So it's been, may even be a year of having these seeds stored. So the fact that they're germinating okay-ish is still a bonus. But as I say, here we've got loads of late sprouters on the wheatgrass, so we can cut all this back and then this should hopefully grow out as well. But if you've got any questions about how to do this, or if I've made a fool of myself and made mistakes, whatever, leave me a comment. I only ever do this as food for the animals, so if you've got any other tips or tricks or whatever, get in touch. But any questions as well, leave a comment. If you enjoyed this, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.